There is something sitting in your kitchen right now. Something you probably bought without thinking twice. Something so ordinary you walk past it every morning without a second glance. And yet, when you combine it with one specific drink in one specific way, it begins doing something inside your body that most men over 50 would pay a great deal of money to achieve artificially. I am not talking about a supplement from a specialty store. I am not talking about a prescription. I am talking about your kitchen cabinet. And I am talking about what happens when you stop treating your morning drink as just a habit and start treating it as the first health decision of your day. Stay with me, because what I am about to share is not a trend. It is biology. And once you understand the biology, you will never look at your morning routine the same way again. Let me start with something most men do not want to hear, but need to. After 50, your body begins a slow, quiet negotiation with itself. Testosterone, the hormone that governs your energy, your drive, your muscle, your mood, and yes, your sexual function, starts to decline. But here is what the decline actually looks like from the inside. It is not a sudden switch. It is more like a dimmer being turned down, so gradually that most men do not notice until the light is already noticeably dimmer than it used to be. At the same time, an enzyme called aromatase becomes more active. Aromatase converts testosterone into estrogen. And as visceral fat increases with age, that deeper abdominal fat that accumulates even in men who are not dramatically overweight, aromatase has more tissue to work with, more sites to operate from. The result is a hormonal imbalance that most men are experiencing, but few are addressing at the root level. And beneath all of this, there is something even more fundamental: inflammation. Chronic, low-grade inflammation that damages the inner walls of blood vessels, restricts circulation, and creates an internal environment where the body simply cannot perform the way it was designed to. This is not inflammation you can feel like a swollen knee. It is invisible. It is systemic. And it is one of the primary reasons men over 50 experience fatigue, reduced sexual function, and the general sense of the body being somehow less responsive than it once was. An erection, at its core, is a vascular event. It depends entirely on blood flow, on vessels that can open wide, on tissues that receive oxygen-rich blood without restriction, on a body whose internal chemistry is working in its favor rather than against it. When inflammation narrows those vessels, when oxidative stress damages the specialized cells in the testes responsible for producing testosterone, when the hormonal balance shifts in the wrong direction, all of these factors converge on the same outcome. And that outcome is something millions of men are quietly living with, without understanding why, and without knowing that the answer might already be in their kitchen. Now let me tell you about two ingredients that address this problem from two different directions, and what happens when you combine them intelligently. The first is turmeric, specifically its active compound curcumin, which has been studied extensively for its anti-inflammatory and antioxidant properties. Curcumin works directly on the endothelium, the thin inner lining of your blood vessels. It reduces oxidative stress in vascular tissue, inhibits the inflammatory signals that damage arterial walls, and supports the body's ability to produce nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is the molecule that tells blood vessels to relax and open. It is the biological mechanism behind healthy erections. It is the reason blood reaches where it needs to reach. When curcumin supports nitric oxide production, it is supporting the entire chain of events that leads to vascular health, and everything that depends on vascular health. The second ingredient is zinc, not in any form, but in a highly bioavailable form, zinc bisglycinate, which dissolves easily and absorbs efficiently. Zinc is required for nearly every step of testosterone synthesis. The specialized cells in your testes, Leydig cells, depend on zinc to convert cholesterol into testosterone through a series of enzyme-driven processes. When zinc is deficient, those processes slow down. And zinc deficiency is far more common in men over 50 than most people realize, because zinc is lost through sweat, depleted by stress, and poorly absorbed from many common dietary sources. But zinc does something else that is particularly relevant. It directly inhibits aromatase, the same enzyme that converts your testosterone into estrogen. While curcumin addresses inflammation and vascular health, zinc addresses the hormonal side of the equation. Together, they are working on two of the most significant underlying causes of declining male function simultaneously. Here is how you bring this together practically, in a form your body can actually use. You will need 1/4 teaspoon of high-quality turmeric powder, 1 tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil, 1 cup of warm water, not boiling, comfortably warm, a pinch of freshly ground black pepper, and 15 to 30 milligrams of zinc bisglycinate powder. Optionally, a small squeeze of fresh lemon juice for vitamin C, which further supports nitric oxide production and mineral absorption. Begin by mixing the turmeric and olive oil together in your cup until they form a smooth, consistent blend. The olive oil is not just for flavor. It dramatically improves the absorption of curcumin, which is fat-soluble and poorly absorbed on its own. The black pepper contains piperine, a compound that enhances curcumin absorption by up to 2,000%. This combination, turmeric, olive oil, and black pepper, is a scientifically optimized trio, not a random collection of ingredients. Add the warm water and stir thoroughly. Then dissolve the zinc bisglycinate powder into the drink. Add the lemon juice if you have it. Drink this slowly, first thing in the morning, on an empty stomach, so that the active compounds move quickly into your small intestine, where absorption is highest. Within 2 to 4 weeks of consistent daily use, many men begin noticing changes. Not dramatic, overnight transformations, but the kind of quiet, accumulating shift that feels like the body remembering something it had forgotten. More stable energy through the afternoon, clearer thinking in the morning, improved quality of sleep, and for many men, noticeable improvement in morning firmness and overall sexual responsiveness. These are not coincidences. They are the measurable result of reducing inflammation, supporting vascular function, and giving the hormonal system the raw materials it needs to work properly. One thing worth saying clearly: this is not a replacement for medical care. If you are dealing with significant symptoms, please speak with your physician. What this is a daily nutritional foundation, evidence-based, affordable, and entirely within your control, that supports the conditions your body needs to function well. I have spent years watching men in their 50s, 60s, and 70s make the assumption that decline is simply what aging feels like. that there is nothing to be done except manage the symptoms. And I have spent just as many years watching those same men discover that when you address the root causes, inflammation, hormonal imbalance, vascular restriction, the body responds. Not perfectly, not instantly, but genuinely. Your body is not broken. It is operating in an environment that was never designed to support it. Change the environment, even in small ways, and the body will do what it has always been designed to do. Start tomorrow morning. 1 cup, 5 ingredients. That is all it takes to begin. Now I want to hear from you. Have you ever tried turmeric or zinc as part of your daily routine? What did you notice? Leave a comment below. Your experience might be exactly what another man needs to read to take his first step. And if this conversation opens something up for you, subscribe, because next week I am going into something that very few doctors talk about openly. A specific pattern of daily behavior that quietly accelerates hormonal decline in men over 50, and a surprisingly simple adjustment that can reverse it. You will not want to miss that one.